The alarm rings at 5 a.m. Most people hit snooze. Most people turn over, pull the blanket closer, and promise themselves they will start tomorrow. But a small group of people do something different. They open their eyes. They sit up. They take a breath. And they begin the day while the world is still asleep. That single decision changes everything. Because the early morning holds a strange kind of power. The air feels different. The noise disappears. The endless notifications, the pressure, the distractions that usually pull attention in 100 directions, they are not there yet. At 5 in the morning, the world becomes quiet enough to hear your own thoughts. And that is where success often begins. Success rarely starts with a big moment. It usually begins with a small habit repeated every day. Something simple. Something ordinary. Something almost invisible. Waking up early is one of those habits. Not because 5 in the morning is magical, but because the people who wake up at that hour decide that their life will not run on autopilot. They choose intention instead of reaction. They choose discipline instead of comfort. They choose growth instead of excuses. Think about the typical day of most people. The alarm rings. They rush. They check their phone immediately. Messages, emails, social media, news. Stress begins before their feet even touch the floor. From that moment on, the day controls them. Deadlines control them. Other people's demands control them. Time controls them. And before they know it, the day ends. Another day gone. Another opportunity missed. Another dream delayed. Now imagine a different beginning. The alarm rings at 5 a.m. Instead of rushing into chaos, you step into silence. The sun is not even up yet. The streets are quiet. The house is still. Your mind is calm. In that moment, you own the first hour of the day. And that first hour becomes the most important hour of your life. Because what you do in the first hour shapes everything that follows. When you start the day with intention, the entire day moves differently. Your mind becomes sharper. Your focus becomes stronger. Your energy becomes more controlled. Your actions become more purposeful. This is why so many successful people protect their mornings. Not because they enjoy waking up early every day, but because they understand the advantage. While others are sleeping, they are building. While others are scrolling, they are thinking. While others are reacting, they are preparing. The early morning becomes their secret training ground. And here is something important to understand. The 5 a.m. habit is not about waking up early just to feel proud of it. It is about using that time to become the person you want to be. That hour is an investment. An investment in your mind. An investment in your discipline. An investment in your future. Every morning you wake up early, you prove something to yourself. You prove that comfort does not control you. You prove that your goals matter more than temporary ease. You prove that you can keep promises to yourself. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, confidence grows. Not loud confidence. Real confidence. The kind that comes from action. The kind that builds quietly over time. The kind that changes a life. Most people wait for motivation. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait until the moment feels right. But successful people understand something different. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is dependable. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Discipline stays. And waking up at 5 in the morning is one of the simplest ways to train discipline. The alarm rings. Your mind immediately offers excuses. You slept late. You are tired. You can start tomorrow. No one will know. But in that exact moment, a decision appears. A simple decision. Stay in bed. Or get up. The 5 a.m. habit becomes daily practice for that discipline. At first, it feels uncomfortable. Your body resists. Your mind complains. The bed feels warmer than ever before. But something interesting happens after a few days. Your body begins to adjust. Your mind begins to accept the new routine. The early hour slowly becomes normal. Then something even more interesting happens. You begin to look forward to it. Because that quiet hour becomes your personal space. A space where you are not interrupted. A space where your thoughts become clear. A space where progress begins. You might start with something simple. A few minutes of movement. Stretching your body. Waking up your muscles. Letting energy flow through your system. Then maybe you sit quietly for a moment. Not scrolling. Not reacting. Just breathing. Letting your mind settle. Allowing your thoughts to organize themselves. Clarity begins in silence. Then you might read something that expands your thinking. A few pages of a book. Ideas from people who have walked the path before you. Wisdom collected over years, sometimes decades. Reading early in the morning plants powerful seeds in the mind. Because your brain absorbs ideas differently when the day is fresh. Those ideas stay with you. They guide your decisions. They shape your actions. And slowly, they shape your life. After that, you might write. Not perfectly. Not for anyone else. Just for yourself. Writing helps you think. Writing helps you see patterns. Writing helps you notice what truly matters. Sometimes you write goals. Sometimes you write gratitude. Sometimes you write ideas. The page becomes a mirror of your mind. And the more you write, the clearer everything becomes. By the time the rest of the world begins waking up, something powerful has already happened. You have invested in yourself. You have trained your discipline. You have organized your thoughts. You have prepared your energy. You have moved your body. You have expanded your mind. Before 7 a.m., you have already won the first victory of the day. That victory creates momentum. Momentum carries into everything else. Work becomes sharper. Decisions become easier. Stress becomes easier to manage. Focus becomes stronger. And that is the real power of the 5 a.m. habit. It does not just change your mornings. It changes how you show up in every moment that follows. Because when you start the day with purpose, the entire day follows that direction. One morning becomes two. 2 mornings become a week. A week becomes a month. A month becomes a lifestyle. And suddenly the habit that once felt impossible becomes part of who you are. You are no longer someone who tries to wake up early. You become someone who does wake up early. Identity shifts. And when identity shifts, behavior becomes natural. You no longer argue with the alarm. You respond to it. You no longer negotiate with excuses. You move past them. You begin to trust yourself more. And trust in yourself is one of the most valuable resources a person can have. Because once you trust yourself, bigger goals become possible. You start believing that the future can actually be different. You start believing that progress is real. You start believing that change is within your control. And that belief fuels action. Action creates results. Results create confidence. Confidence fuels more action. The cycle continues. All from a simple decision made at 5 in the morning. It is not glamorous. It is not loud. It is not something most people will even notice. But the quiet habits often create the loudest results. While the world sleeps, the disciplined rise. And every sunrise becomes another chance to move forward. The truth about the 5 a.m. habit is simple. It is not about waking up early. It is about waking up with intention. Many people wake up early for work, travel, or responsibilities. But intention is different. Intention means you decide how your day begins instead of letting the world decide for you. When you wake up with intention, the first thing you do is take control of your mind. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It creates ideas, decisions, habits, and eventually your entire life direction. But if you do not control your mind early in the morning, the world will control it for you. News headlines will shape your mood. Social media will shape your attention. Other people's opinions will shape your confidence. Before you even realize it, your focus is scattered. That is why the first lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is mental ownership. Successful people guard their mornings because they understand something most people overlook. The first thoughts of the day are powerful. The brain is fresh. The mind is quiet. The imagination is active. In this state, the thoughts you choose become the emotional direction of your entire day. If the first thoughts are stress, the day feels heavy. If the first thoughts are intention, the day feels purposeful. So the moment you wake up, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let your mind settle. Then ask yourself one simple question. What kind of person will I be today? Not what will happen today. Not what others will do. But who you choose to be. Calm, focused, disciplined, creative, patient. When you decide this early, your brain begins to act in alignment with that identity. That is how powerful the morning mind can be. The second lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is movement. Your body and mind are deeply connected. When the body wakes up, the mind wakes up. When the body stays still, the mind often stays slow and foggy. That is why many successful people begin the day with movement. Not because they are chasing perfection, but because movement activates energy. It could be something simple. A short walk, stretching, push-ups, yoga. Even 5 minutes of movement can change your mental state completely. Blood begins to flow. Oxygen reaches the brain. Your nervous system activates. Suddenly the mind becomes sharper. Ideas begin to move. Energy replaces tiredness. The body wakes the mind. And the mind prepares the body for action. The third lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is clarity. Clarity is rare in modern life. Most people move through the day reacting to things without ever stopping to think about what actually matters. But early morning offers a different environment, a quiet space to think deeply. This is when successful people ask powerful questions. What truly matters today? What action will move my life forward? What problem needs a solution? What opportunity needs attention? When you ask better questions, your brain begins searching for better answers. And this simple process can change the direction of your entire day. Instead of reacting to random tasks, you focus on meaningful actions. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel guided. Instead of chasing urgency, you follow priority. Clarity saves energy. Clarity saves time. Clarity creates progress. The fourth lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is growth. Morning is the perfect time to feed the mind. The brain absorbs information differently early in the day. Without constant distraction, ideas have space to sink deeper. That is why reading in the morning can be life-changing. A few pages every day may not seem like much, but knowledge compounds. 10 pages a day becomes 300 pages a month. That becomes thousands of pages every year. Within a few years, your thinking expands in ways most people never experience. New perspectives appear. New strategies emerge. New confidence develops. And the mind begins seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. Growth is not dramatic. It is consistent. The early morning habit turns growth into a daily routine. The fifth lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is planning. Many people start the day reacting to whatever appears first. Emails, messages, problems, deadlines. But reacting all day drains mental energy. Planning gives direction. When you plan early, you decide where your attention goes. You decide what matters most. You decide what deserves your time. Even a simple plan creates structure. 3 important tasks. 3 meaningful actions. 3 steps that move your life forward. When those actions are clear, your mind relaxes. Because uncertainty disappears. Now you know exactly where to focus. And focus multiplies productivity. The 6th lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many people believe discipline is about punishment or strict rules. But real discipline is about freedom. When you control your habits stop controlling you. When you control your schedule, time becomes an ally. When you control your focus, distractions lose power. The 5 a.m. habit is daily training for that control. Every morning you wake up early. You prove something important to yourself. You prove that comfort does not lead your life. Purpose does. And that realization is powerful. Because once you control the small habits, you begin controlling bigger areas of life. Health improves. Focus improves. Productivity improves. Confidence improves. And the most important thing begins to happen. You start trusting yourself. Self-trust is rare. Many people promise themselves things, but never follow through. I'll start tomorrow. I'll work on my goal later. I'll change next week. Those promises slowly lose meaning. Confidence fades. But when you keep a promise to yourself every morning, something changes. Self-respect grows. And self-respect becomes fuel for bigger commitments. The 7th lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is consistency. Success does not come from one powerful day. It comes from hundreds of consistent days. The early morning routine works because it repeats. Day after day, week after week, month after month. Each morning becomes a small brick. Those bricks build discipline. They build focus. They build identity. Over time, the routine becomes stronger than motivation. Even on difficult days, the habit carries you forward. Even when energy feels low, the routine provides direction. Consistency removes the need for constant decision-making. You simply follow the system, and systems create results. The 8th lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is emotional strength. Life will not always be easy. Challenges will appear. Unexpected problems will arrive. Pressure will increase. But people who build strong morning habits develop something valuable. Mental stability. When you begin the day calmly and intentionally, your nervous system stays balanced longer. You react less. You think more. You respond with clarity instead of emotion. This emotional strength becomes a huge advantage in stressful situations. Because when others panic, you remain steady. And steady minds solve problems faster. The 9th lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is identity transformation. At first, waking up early feels difficult. But over time, something deeper begins to happen. You begin seeing yourself differently. You are no longer someone who wishes for change. You become someone who practices change. Your identity shifts from passive to active, from distracted to focused, from reactive to intentional. This shift is subtle but powerful, because identity determines behavior. When you see yourself as a disciplined person, disciplined actions become natural. When you see yourself as focused, focus becomes easier. When you see yourself as someone who grows every day, growth becomes normal. And that identity influences every decision you make. The 10th lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is ownership of life. Many people drift through life reacting to circumstances. But successful people understand something important. Life responds to direction. The early morning habit gives you that direction. Every sunrise becomes a fresh opportunity, a reset button, a moment to choose growth again, a moment to choose discipline again, a moment to move one step closer to the future you want. And the most powerful part is this. No one can stop you from waking up early and working on yourself. No one controls that choice except you. Not the economy, not the competition, not the critics, just you. That is why the early morning habit has changed so many lives. Because it places the most important decision of the day directly in your hands. Wake up, take control, move forward, and repeat, day after day, morning after morning, until the person you once imagined becoming slowly becomes the person you are. The alarm rings again at 5 a.m. For a moment, your mind tries to negotiate. It whispers small excuses. Just a few more minutes. One more day of rest. Start tomorrow. But this is where the real lesson begins. The battle at 5 in the morning is not between sleep and waking up. It is between the person you are today and the person you are becoming. Every morning presents the same silent question. Will you move closer to your future or stay comfortable in your present? Successful people understand that growth rarely feels comfortable in the beginning. The body prefers routine and the mind prefers ease. But transformation requires a different response. It requires action before comfort. When you sit up in bed at 5 in the morning, something subtle happens inside your brain. You interrupt the old pattern. The habit of delay begins to weaken, and the habit of action begins to grow. That small moment becomes powerful training for every challenge you will face later in the day. Because life constantly presents moments like that. Moments where the easy option appears first. Moments where quitting feels tempting. Moments where discipline must replace emotion. The 5 a.m. habit trains your mind to move anyway. And that training changes how you approach every opportunity. Imagine two people starting the same day. One wakes up late, rushes through the morning, checks messages immediately, reacts to problems, and feels slightly behind before the day even begins. The other wakes up early, moves the body, clears the mind, plans the day, and begins with intention. By noon, those two people are living completely different experiences. One is reacting, the other is leading. This difference might seem small at first, but small differences repeated daily create massive results over time. That is the quiet mathematics of success. Tiny actions multiplied by consistency equal extraordinary change. The early morning routine becomes a laboratory for personal improvement. In that quiet hour, you experiment with better habits, better thoughts, and better decisions. One of the most powerful practices during this time is reflection. Reflection is the art of learning from your own life. Most people move through experiences without ever stopping to understand them. They repeat the same mistakes because they never pause long enough to examine what happened. But the early morning offers space for reflection. You can ask yourself honest questions. What worked yesterday? What could I improve? What lesson did I learn? These questions sharpen awareness. And awareness is the beginning of wisdom. When you learn from yesterday, today becomes stronger. When you repeat that process daily, improvement becomes automatic. Reflection also builds emotional intelligence. You begin noticing patterns in your reactions. You see what triggers frustration, what creates motivation, and what strengthens your focus. Once you understand those patterns, you gain control over them. Instead of being pushed around by emotions, you begin guiding them. This ability becomes a powerful advantage in work, relationships, and leadership. Another powerful element of the 5 a.m. habit is creative thinking. Creativity does not appear easily in noisy environments. When the mind is constantly interrupted, ideas struggle to grow. But early morning offers rare mental space. Without constant distractions, the brain begins connecting ideas in new ways. Solutions appear. Strategies form. Creative thoughts rise naturally. Many entrepreneurs, writers, innovators, and leaders have discovered that their best ideas arrive during quiet morning hours. Not because they force creativity, but because silence invites it. When the world is quiet, the mind becomes a place where ideas can breathe. This is also a powerful time for visualization. Visualization is the process of mentally experiencing the future you want to create. Athletes use it before competitions. Leaders use it before important decisions. High performers use it to prepare for challenges. During visualization, you imagine yourself performing at your best. You imagine solving problems calmly. You imagine achieving meaningful goals. You imagine responding to pressure with confidence. The brain does something interesting during this process. It begins building neural pathways that make those actions easier in real life. In simple terms, the brain starts practicing success before the moment arrives. That preparation increases confidence. Confidence improves performance. And improved performance creates better results. All of this can begin in the quiet moments of a morning routine. Another important lesson of the 5 a.m. habit is energy management. Many people believe productivity is about managing time. But time alone does not determine productivity. Energy determines productivity. You can have 8 free hours in a day, but if your mind is exhausted, those hours produce very little progress. Early mornings protect your highest energy. Your brain is rested. Your attention is strong. Your willpower is high. That is why successful people often place their most important work during the early hours. They understand that protecting peak energy is more valuable than simply filling time. This approach transforms productivity. Instead of working longer hours, you work with stronger focus. Instead of spreading energy across distractions, you direct it toward meaningful tasks. Over time, this creates better results with less stress. The 5 a.m. habit also strengthens resilience. Resilience is the ability to continue moving forward even when circumstances become difficult. Life guarantees challenges. Plans will fail. Unexpected problems will appear. Some days will feel heavy. But when you have a strong morning routine, you start the day with mental preparation. You build inner stability before facing the outside world. This stability becomes an anchor during stressful moments. When pressure rises, you remember that you already conquered the first challenge of the day. You woke up. You moved forward. You kept your promise to yourself. That memory builds strength. And strength helps you continue when others might give up. Another powerful effect of the 5 a.m. habit is the development of patience. Modern life moves quickly. People expect instant results. When progress feels slow, many quit early. But the early morning routine teaches a different mindset. It teaches the value of steady improvement. Every morning becomes a reminder that small progress matters. A few pages read, a few minutes of movement, a few written ideas, a few moments of reflection. These small actions may seem insignificant in one day, but when repeated for months and years, they transform a life. Patience grows from seeing this long-term progress. You begin trusting the process. You begin understanding that success is not a single moment of victory. It is a long series of quiet improvements. And the early morning habit supports that journey every single day. As weeks turn into months, something remarkable happens. Your relationship with time changes. Instead of feeling rushed and overwhelmed, you begin feeling prepared. Instead of chasing the day, you guide it. You start noticing opportunities others overlook. You start thinking more clearly about long-term goals. You start seeing progress where you once saw confusion. This shift does not happen overnight, but it begins with a simple decision repeated every morning. Wake up, stand up, move forward. That moment becomes a declaration that your life will not be built by accident. It will be built by intention, morning by morning, action by action, choice by choice. And eventually, the person who once struggled to wake up early becomes the person who leads their day with strength. Not because it is easy, but because the habit has reshaped the mind. The alarm rings. And instead of hesitation, there is purpose. Instead of excuses, there is movement. Instead of delay, there is action. That is the true power of the 5 a.m. habit. It transforms mornings. Then it transforms days. Then it transforms the direction of an entire life. Next, The next morning arrives the same way every morning has arrived for thousands of years. Quiet, dark, still. At 5 a.m. the world has not yet begun its noise. There are no crowded schedules yet, no endless notifications, no urgent demands. Just a quiet moment between yesterday and today. And inside that moment lives a powerful opportunity. Most people will sleep through it. But the people who build extraordinary lives often do something different. They wake up and step into that silence. Because silence is where awareness begins. When you wake up early enough to hear your own thoughts, something interesting happens. You begin to notice how powerful your mindset really is. Your mindset is not just a collection of thoughts. It is the lens through which you see every challenge, every opportunity, and every decision. Two people can face the exact same situation, yet experience completely different outcomes. One sees difficulty. The other sees possibility. One sees pressure. The other sees growth. One sees limits. The other sees potential. The difference often begins in the mind long before the event even happens. That is why the early morning routine is not only about discipline. It is about shaping the mindset that carries you through the entire day. During the quiet hours of the morning, your brain is in a powerful state of awareness. Without constant stimulation, your mind becomes more reflective and more open to new ideas. This is the perfect moment to strengthen a success-oriented mindset. You can remind yourself of what truly matters. You can reconnect with the reasons behind your goals. You can focus your thoughts on progress instead of problems. This small mental shift changes everything. When your mind focuses on problems, your energy drains quickly. Problems feel heavy, complicated, and discouraging. But when your mind focuses on solutions, energy rises. Creativity appears. Possibilities expand. Successful people train their minds to search for solutions. They do not ignore problems. They simply refuse to stay stuck in them. You act even when no one is watching. This quiet commitment builds powerful self-respect. Self-respect grows when your actions match your intentions. When you say you will do something and then actually do it, the relationship with yourself becomes stronger. You begin trusting your own decisions. And when self-trust grows, your ability to pursue bigger goals expands dramatically. Another powerful benefit of waking up early is the space it creates for deep work. Deep work is focused effort without distraction. In today's world, distraction has become constant. Messages appear every few minutes. Social media pulls attention in dozens of directions. Multitasking has become normal, but multitasking often reduces quality and slows progress. Deep work is the opposite. It allows you to place full attention on one meaningful task. During the early morning hours, deep work becomes easier. The world is quieter. Fewer interruptions exist. Your mind is fresh. When you dedicate even 1 hour each morning to focused effort, progress begins to accelerate. Writers produce chapters. Entrepreneurs build strategies. Students absorb knowledge. Creators develop ideas. Athletes refine skills. Whatever your field may be, focused effort multiplies results. And the early morning routine protects that focus. Another lesson hidden within the 5 a.m. habit is the importance of long-term thinking. Many people make decisions based only on what feels good today. Comfort today, ease today, entertainment today. But long-term thinking asks a different question. What will this choice create over the next year? Over the next 5 years? Over the next decade? When you wake up early to work on your personal growth, you are practicing long-term thinking. You are investing in a future version of yourself. That future version of you is stronger, more skilled, more disciplined, more confident. Every morning becomes a small investment in that future. And just like financial investments grow with time, personal investments grow with consistency. The longer you practice the habit, the greater the results become. 1 year of early mornings can completely change your mindset. 5 years can change your career. 10 years can transform your entire life direction. That is the quiet power of consistent habits. Small actions repeated over long periods create extraordinary outcomes. The 5 a.m. habit also strengthens something extremely valuable: self-awareness. Self-awareness means understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, and your patterns of behavior. Without self-awareness, people often repeat the same mistakes without realizing it. They blame circumstances. They blame other people. They blame bad luck. But with awareness comes responsibility. When you take quiet time each morning to reflect and observe your thoughts, you begin noticing patterns. You notice when your energy is strongest. You notice what distracts your focus. You notice what motivates you deeply. This knowledge becomes powerful because once you understand yourself, you can begin improving yourself more effectively. Self-awareness turns experience into wisdom, and wisdom leads to better decisions. Better decisions create better results. Over time, the early morning habit becomes more than a routine. It becomes a lifestyle of intentional living. You begin approaching every area of life with more awareness. Health, work, relationships, goals. Success rarely comes from one big decision. It grows from hundreds of small decisions repeated every single day. The decision to wake up early. The decision to move your body. The decision to focus your mind. The decision to build discipline when no one else is watching. These small actions create powerful momentum, and momentum creates transformation. Every sunrise gives you another chance to step closer to the life you want to build. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Stand up. Breathe deeply. Take action. Build the habits that build your future. Because the person you become tomorrow is shaped by the choices you make this morning. Thank you for listening to the Motivational Audiobook Spot. If this message inspired you, take a moment to support the channel. Subscribe for more powerful motivational audiobooks designed to strengthen your mindset, build discipline, and help you create a life of purpose. Like the video so more people can discover this message. And share it with someone who needs a reminder that their future is still in their hands. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and remember, your best life is built one powerful morning at a time. This is the Motivational Audiobook Spot, where powerful ideas turn into powerful action.